I believe at that moment Puffy was terrified for his life. I think that he was afraid because all of the things that had gone out and about that party, they were singling him out, and I don't think that he thought he was going to survive it.
The internet has been sent into a frenzy after Al B. Sure dropped shocking allegations about what really happened to Angie Stone. His claims have reignited discussions about her untimely passing, with many questioning whether her death was truly an accident or something far more sinister. Al isn't just making vague accusations, he's coming forward with text messages and detailed information that suggest Angie was silenced before she could expose too much. Angie Stone wasn't just an ordinary artist. She was deeply respected in the music industry and had connections that gave her insight into some of the most powerful figures in the business. One of the most disturbing revelations is that she allegedly had knowledge of Diddy's dark side long before many others. According to sources, she even tried to guide him spiritually, helping him overcome some of his inner demons. But despite her efforts, he always found his way back to his old ways, making her realize that some people simply couldn't be saved. What makes the timing of her death even more unsettling is that just days before, Angie had been preparing to sue Universal Music Group, UMG, for allegedly stealing millions of dollars from her over the years. She had discovered that UMG had been withholding her royalties for decades, money that could have allowed her to retire comfortably. Instead, she was forced to keep working, taking on exhausting schedules just to survive. The lawsuit she was planning wasn't just about a few $1,000s. It was reportedly about at least $10 million in unpaid royalties. Angie had made it clear that she wasn't going to back down, and that's why people are now wondering if this lawsuit put a target on her back. Al B. sure isn't being subtle about his suspicions. He claims that Angie knew she was in danger, and in the days leading up to her death, she was reaching out to people, hinting that something wasn't right. He has even shared text messages that Angie sent him, revealing how worried she was about what the industry was doing to her. It's now looking more and more like she was silenced before she could take any real action. Her death itself is filled with bizarre circumstances. She was returning from a show when her car suddenly flipped multiple times, leaving her and her crew members severely injured. But here's where things get even more disturbing. At this point, it's believed that she was still alive and fighting to escape the wreckage. That's when, out of nowhere, a large truck came speeding toward the overturned vehicle and crashed into it while she was still inside. This second collision is what ultimately took her life. The strangest part, out of everyone in the vehicle, Angie was the only one who didn't make it out alive. People can't stop questioning the odds of a person being involved in not just one but two catastrophic accidents within minutes, and being the only fatality. Some are saying this is just too much of a coincidence to be ignored, and others are outright convinced that this was a setup. Things get even more suspicious when you consider what was happening in her life just before that night. Angie had already started speaking out about the legal action she was planning against UMG. She had even recorded a video talking about how she didn't know what the company would do to avoid paying her money. And then, just days later, she dies in a freak accident at 4 a.m. under circumstances that make no sense.
A lot of my publishing, a lot of my royalties, my mechanicals, they have all pretty much been stolen. Where are my royalties going? Because I'm not getting this. Come to find out, Universal Music has been receiving all my royalties, all my mechanicals. But they have taken all the monies that were due to me, people that were working on my behalf, never even registered the songs, all the songs that I've done. I'm only coming to find out they were not properly registered by the companies that I signed over to. So I am truly a walking testimony that God has carried me all this time. Because if you only knew how much money they have taken from me, how much they have stolen from me, monies that I'm supposed to be, I should have been able to retire 20 years ago with the money I've made, supposedly. But there are key people that have been driving the ships. And what they've been doing is improperly representing me, improperly stealing from me, taking things in their own hand, changing and switching lanes because they knew I didn't know that part. The legal side, when you hire attorneys and managers and agents, they're supposed to make sure the gray area over there that they're in the driver's seat for, they're supposed to make sure you're taken care of. So I'm just here to let you know, one way or the other, Universal Music, you're going to have to give up my coins. I mean, when you sit back and think Bruno Mars, Dr. Dre, when you think about all these people that have sampled music, if they're filthy rich on it, what's our problem? And that's why I'm telling on Universal and all the people that y'all work with me, y'all know who you are. You've been spotted. You've been seen. Your worth is useless to me now because I've seen the data. That's all I'm going to say. I got a team of people, a diesel crew, that's really trying to help me navigate things. And if I never get it, at least you heard it from me, because I don't know what they might do to keep from paying me all the money they owe me.
But the questions don't stop there. Not long before her death, Angie revealed that she was suffering from a mysterious blood infection that nearly took her life. She described it as a spiritual attack and said that if it weren't for the prayers of her loved ones, she wouldn't have made it through.
I knew it was an attack. I knew it was a spiritual attack on me. However, I was treated and God healed me, cleared up. They cleared up the blood infection.
At the time, she didn't give much detail about what caused the infection, but after her passing, Al B. Sure made a cryptic post, strongly implying that this infection may have been an earlier attempt to take her out. While some people are praising Al for speaking out, others feel like he's gone too far, especially with how he chose to reveal certain information. In what was meant to be a tribute post to Angie, he included transcripts of private text messages between them, exposing extremely personal details that many believe should have remained confidential. One of the messages showed Angie reaching out to him about a transplant situation, where she mentioned having 2 potential donors, but claims that there was racial discrimination at play. Al responded, saying he would reach out to her once he landed from a flight. In another message, she brought up Diddy, expressing how relieved she was that he was finally being exposed. She also mentioned Kim Porter, implying that she was playing a role in ensuring that Diddy was held accountable for everything he had done over the years. Angie seemed to believe that Kim was spiritually guiding those who were working to bring Diddy down. The fact that Angie mentioned Diddy so close to the time of her death has raised even more suspicions. Some are now convinced that she had become a liability because she knew too much. Before she died, she had even spoken about how Diddy had once come running to her, terrified for his life, after the scandal involving Shine and Jennifer Lopez.
I just happened to be in the studio this particular day, and because he never ever really bothered with me or spoke to me in that fashion, I wasn't a part of Uptown, I was just at MCA. On this particular day, I was coming off the elevator. I will never forget it as long as I live. And Puffy came to me, first time, speaking to me as a decent human being. And he said, "Hey, Miss Stone." I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He said, "How are you?" I said, "I'm fine. I'm shocked you speaking to me." He said, "Miss Stone, would you please pray with me?" I said, "Well, of course." When he asked me to pray with him, I believe at that moment Puffy was terrified for his life. I think that he was afraid because all of the things that had gone out and about that party, they were singling him out, and I don't think that he thought he was going to survive it. And I was just happy that whenever he didn't speak to me, I knew he couldn't see me. But on this day, he saw the God in me, which was so not about me, but it was so about the spirit that I carried.
It's also come to light that Angie was connected to an alleged occultic sorority called Zeta Phi Beta. Many people didn't even know she was a member until the group posted about her passing. While it's unclear why she joined, some believe she may have done it to protect herself from the many threats she faced in the industry. Unfortunately, if the rumors are true, even that wasn't enough to keep her safe. Now, people are comparing Angie's death to Lisa Left Eye Lopes, who also died in a car accident under strange circumstances. The eerie similarities have only fueled more speculation that this wasn't just a random tragedy, but something much more calculated. One person commented that Angie's death feels like a repeat of Left Eye's situation, being the only fatality in a horrific car crash, with circumstances that seem too bizarre to be accidental. Another person suggested that Diddy sought Angie's help because he knew she was spiritually strong, but he never truly valued her. Instead, they claim he used her energy for his own benefit before discarding her when she was no longer useful. The entire situation is leaving people with far more questions than answers. Was Angie's passing just a terrible coincidence, or was there a deliberate effort to silence her before she could expose too much? What really happened that night, and did someone in the industry have a hand in it? There's definitely something fishy going on, and now, more than ever, people want the truth. What do you think? Was this just an unfortunate accident, or was Angie taken out because she knew too much? Wow, this whole situation is beyond crazy. Angie Stone's death has way too many suspicious details, and I'll be sure spilling all this tea is making people question everything. Was this really just an accident, or was she silenced before she could expose too much? I definitely want to hear what you all think. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe there's more to this story? Do you think the industry had a hand in it? Let's get the conversation going. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more deep dives like this. Turn on those post notifications so you'll be the first to know when I drop the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe and stay woke.